I'm Miranda.
And I'm April,
And this is American Dream, The Missing Future.
a podcast about missing children in America.
Today we're going to be focusing on a case in Monument, Colorado. Two brothers, Edward and Austin Bryant, who were discovered missing in 2011. So, Edward Dylan Bryant and Austin Eugene Bryant were originally born Dylan Levy Bennett and Austin Jean Bennett. Their biological mother's name is Mary Hinder, and they were born in Veneta, Oklahoma. Edward was born in May of 1992, and Austin was born in January of 1996. Unfortunately, in the late 90s, the boys were actually put into foster care.
Not the late 1900s.
No, not the late 1900s. Because now we're talking about my birth year, so 1990s. So in Oklahoma, they were living with their mom. She was having some pretty severe mental health issues where she was heavily medicated and was often asleep, trying to cope with her mental health. And
often unavailable.
Yes. So the boys liked to play with some dogs in a kennel down the road. I think it's like an animal shelter kennel. That's what it seemed like in the source. And one of the boys actually went to school with a dog bite. So the school called CPS, and it was determined that Mary was unable to care for the boys. The family moved to Monument, Colorado. That's what it is. And there, Austin and Edward were fostered by Edward and Linda Bryant. They actually had a little brother who was also fostered by Edward and Linda Bryant. Everything was going really good at first. They were getting lots of visitation with their mom. Everybody seemed happy. One important thing to note is that both of the boys were classified as special needs, so Linda and Edward did get extra money for taking care of them. So a court case happened, like they do in child custody cases, and Mary was deemed unfit to raise the kids, so she signed over her parental rights, and Linda and Edward Bryant adopted the boys, all three of the boys.
Well, that's nice of them.
After the adoption, they changed Dylan's name to Edward Jr. and Austin's name to Austin Jean. I don't know if Austin Eugene. His original name is Gene. I don't know if they changed the little brother's name, though.
As he's not part of the missing group.
Right, so I didn't really read about him. Sorry. So, one thing to note that I did just jump right over is the visitation kind of started to taper off the closer to the adoption date. And then eventually, Christmas of 1999, the Bryants actually just asked Mary not to call or communicate with the boys at all. And she did heed that wish. One thing she did say is that she regretted listening to them and not talking to them, because the last time that she saw the boys was 1999. So, moving forward, in 2001, the Bryants adopted another little boy named James, I'm pretty sure. And then in 2003, they pulled Austin from public school to homeschool him. In 2005, they moved to El Paso County, Texas. And in 2007, Linda and Edward Bryant filed for bankruptcy, in which they claimed $175,000 worth of funds from adoption as a source of income. Shortly after filing bankruptcy, they separated and started living in two different homes.
With all the children? With all the children?
Yes. And
how many children do they have?
Well, some point between 2001 and 2006, 2007, they adopted 5 more minor children.
5 more.
Well, 4 more, because one of them is the little brother of Edward and Austin. So they adopted 4 more children between 2001 and 2007.
So 6 in total.
Yes. And also, Linda has a biological daughter who, as an adult, was also fostering children around the same time. So, where was I?
So all the children moved to Texas,
Yes. Bryant's and all the children moved to Texas.
including Edward and Austin.
Sure. So,
Sure.
2007
Exactly when did they go missing here? I thought that's what we're talking about. Missing children.
It is. Pause.
Pause.
So 2007 to 2011, not really a lot going on with the Bryants.
Just
they've
collecting the
adopted
money,
children, collecting the
living
money.
in Texas, living the dream.
And then in 2011, the boy, James, who they adopted in 2001, came forward to authorities and said that Austin and Edward Jr. were no longer in the care of Linda or Edward Bryant. And as a matter of fact, they hadn't been in their care for quite some time, like a decade.
That's ambiguous. Quite some time.
Well, Edward is alleged to have gone missing in 2000, in between 2000 and 2001. So right after the adoption
It's like
and
10 years.
when James gets adopted.
So nobody knows this kid is missing for 10 years?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
And then Austin was not seen since he was disenrolled in school in 2003 to be homeschooled. So they are pretty sure that he went missing in 2003.
Pretty sure, but nobody knows because this was like 10 years later.
Right, pretty sure. They're pretty sure.
Mm.
They're piecing it.
Decently sure. Okay.
Another important thing to note is even Edward Jr., who hated that name, by the way, he preferred his given name of Dylan, but we'll call him Edward because that's what he's listed as missing under. So Edward Jr. had a Medicaid bill in December of 2003, which is odd because authorities are pretty sure he went missing in 2000 or 2001. So, don't know what happened there.
I wonder if I can use that if I get a speeding ticket. I'm pretty sure I wasn't speeding. Pretty sure.
No, I don't think so.
Decently sure. I think your radar's off. It's fine.
Decently think you're getting that ticket. So, it's come to light that these kids are not in the care and haven't been in the care since at least 2003. Edward and Linda have different accounts as to when the boys went missing. Linda says that the boys, Austin and Edward Jr., went missing on the same day, ran away together at the same time at the age of 5 and 2003, 11. So she says that 11-year-old Edward Jr. and 5-year-old Austin ran away together back to their biological family.
In Oklahoma.
No, because at this point, I forgot to mention, sorry, they had actually, no, I did. They moved to Monument, Colorado, which is how Linda and Edward got the kids in the first place, because they were in the same place.
But they were in, the kids were born in Oklahoma where the mother is.
Yes, ran away to Oklahoma. You're right, sorry. So,
I had to think about that kind of hard, didn't you?
I know,
Oh my God.
Linda says that 11-year-old Edward Jr. and 5-year-old Austin ran back home to Oklahoma to be with their biological family.
What they do, hitchhike? Did they hide themselves in the trunk of a car as like a magic trick and said, "Hey, Oklahoma, thanks, Brad."
Sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Edward Sr., on the other hand, says that Edward Jr. went missing in 2001, ran away. He didn't say missing. He said Edward Jr. ran away in 2001, and Austin ran away in 2003.
Wait, okay, so Edward ran away in 2001 at the age of what?
9.
9. Okay, so 9.
Yes.
And then Austin ran away in 2003 at the age of what?
Hold on, let me do the math. 7. because he was born in 96. So in 2003, he would have been 7. That's true.
Didn't say any. I'm going by your math. It's very
It is
scary
about
to
96,
do
97,
so.
98, 99,
Yeah.
2000, 2001,
Yeah.
2, 3, 7.
7. We got 7.
Anyways, so Edward says
Okay.
that Edward Jr. ran away at 9 in 2001, and Austin ran away at 7 in 2003.
So this 9 and 7 year. Okay, so they're all basically depending on whose story you're listening to. So if you listen to Linda, maybe they can get to Oklahoma.
11 and 5.
No, yeah, whatever. Because the 11-year-old, they can be kind of.
It doesn't matter whose story you listen to. They're babies. And they didn't travel multiple states.
Okay. All right. So 10 years,
Yeah.
basically, with nobody noticed that these children were missing.
Well, here's the kicker. Okay. First off, I don't understand how they adopted 6 more kids. And CPS was never like, hey, you have these kids here, but I don't see them here.
They were at school.
So one thing that Linda told the kids that Austin and Edward Jr. had moved back to be with their biological family. So that's why the kids never thought anything of it. Because Linda told her adoptive and foster children that they had moved back to their biological family. Now, outwardly, whenever somebody would question, okay, let me back up. So Linda went through to great lengths to try and make it look like Austin and Edward were still in the home. She went online and got Google photos, printed them out, framed them, and hung them up in her house and told people that that was the boys.
Wait, Google photos of. Did she not have any photos of these children?
She had to get older pictures. As time went on, she got pictures off the internet to pretend like they were the boys because she only had baby pictures of them, if she had any. I don't know. And on one occasion, at least one occasion, one of the other kids in her care says that she asked one of his friends to pretend to be Austin when CPS had scheduled a home visit. That home visit ended up being canceled, but she had asked one of the other kids' friends to pretend to be Austin for CPS.
Okay, so with this time frame, did they continue to draw that extra money?
Yes. So both the boys were classified as special needs. I don't know if I mentioned that previously. Edward had ADHD and Austin had a speech impediment. So by fostering and adopting them, they got an extra stipend on top of what they already got in benefits. And they continued to draw that stipend until 2011. And if you would like to know how, it's because Linda continued to send in paperwork to social services to prove that she was still caring for these boys.
Okay.
Until 2011.
Okay. Okay, so when the authorities found out about these children, obviously they're children.
Yes.
But when they found out about these children, so they did all kinds of searches and I don't know, what did they do?
First thing they did was talk to all the adoptive kids. And James was like, I never even met Edward. But Austin had a rough time because they would wrap him up in a blanket so tight he couldn't move. Linda would do what she called delayed feeding and would withhold food.
Is it in a fish here? I mean, is it on a timer?
She would withhold food to the point where Austin was so hungry he was scavenging from the trash can just to eat.
Oh, poor baby.
They would lock him in a trunk in the garage, a little moving trunk, a little magic chest trunk.
Make it sure we're clear that in the garage it was not a car trunk.
Right.
It was a travel trunk.
It was a travel trunk, from what I understand. And he would beat and try to get out. They would lock him in there for a long time. and he would have to run up and down the stairs until exhaustion. And Linda said that was exercise. And this was alleged because it's something that Austin told the other little boy, James. He said that he had been tased with a taser by Linda.
Did they see the proof of the tasing?
The boy didn't. He said it's just what Austin told him. But I mean, is it so far-fetched? All the other things that they did to him.
No, what about any other friend? Did he tell any other friend that he was being tased or
So
abused?
there were Linda's biological daughter also was fostering kids at the same time that this alleged abuse was happening to Austin. I don't know how old her biological daughter is. I don't know who she is. I don't know if she's a good foster mother or not. There was nothing about her. But 2 of the kids that she was fostering at the time also came forward to corroborate some of the abuse stories. But again, nobody ever saw him be tased with the taser. It was just like something that he recounted to them. So it's all hearsay in the eyes of the law.
Now, just kind of glancing at my paper,
Mm-hmm.
it is said that somebody saw the whelps on Austin and that he often came around with black eyes or scratches.
You said it does say somebody saw that?
Yeah.
I didn't read that anywhere. Who does it say saw it?
Hold on. Let me go back. I just had it and then I lost it.
Oh,
it just says that when he just said that Austin was no more than 10 when he told a friend that his adoptive parents, Edward and Linda Bryant, shocked him with a device in El Paso County Sheriff's detective in the court documents. Hold on, I just saw this. At the time, Austin's torso was covered in whelps, and the boy's friend told the police in January he also frequently frequently had black eyes and cuts on his face.
Yeah, that I read the affidavit. That is the kid that I'm talking about, the adopted kid.
Oh, I didn't say who said it. It just said a kid said it.
Yeah, that's James, the adopted kid who never met Austin. Maybe it's not James. It's one of the 3. It's one of the 3 kids that came forward that were living in the house at the time.
You mean never met Edward?
Yes. What did I say?
Austin.
Oops. Yeah, it was either the one that said he never met Edward. Dang it, I did it again. Or it was one of the other 2 that came forward. But it was one of the kids that was in the house that said that.
Still, I mean, what is this like? Let me tase this kid to get him to toughen up? I mean, really, why would you tase a child?
Here's what I think. And I'm not justifying this because it's terrible and this is not my thought process. But maybe
as you think it.
Shut up. So all I can think is that maybe his speech impediment was very frustrating sometimes and they lost their temper, or it was like a punishment for not being able to talk to them appropriately. That's the only thing I can think. What? I don't know why you tase a child.
You can't speak right. I'm going to tase you to make you not speak right still.
I mean,
oh my God, such a fitting.
It's nonsensical to tase a child. I'm just trying to give you my best. Yes.
There's no logic in this out.
It's true.
Yeah, you can quote me on that.
Okay, I'll try.
Do your best. Logically.
An important thing to know here, and he wasn't going to public school either. So nobody would have seen the abuse that was happening to him because he was disenrolled in 2003.
You know, isn't it amazing how abusers, I can't talk. I've been talking all day. How abusers are able to hide their abuse.
I mean, that's how they get away with it.
It's amazing that they have the gumption to do it, one, or the desire to do it, and then they hide it. It boggles the mind.
I don't know. It doesn't boggle my mind, but domestic violence is my job, so.
You're desensitized.
I am. I see it and hear it every day at work, so it doesn't boggle my mind. I'm like, yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, I know all. It's fine.
That's how they keep
Got
doing
you.
it.
I got you.
One important thing to note, bringing it back now, is
Just reel
that
it on back in. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Linda and Edward never filed missing persons reports,
What?
and they
You mean those
continued.
responsible, loving, adoring parents never reported these children?
They sure didn't, and they continued to take the money anyways. That's why Linda says that's why she never reported them missing, because she wanted to keep collecting the money.
Okay. Okay.
Edward says, "Go ahead, sorry."
No, I just want you to tell me that these people are in jail. I don't care what for, but just in jail. And I need their addresses so I can send them Parent of the Year awards.
Well, pause. Free K pause. I stole that off TikTok. But so Edward claims that he had no idea that Linda was still sending paperwork in to social services to keep collecting the checks. And after 2007, they didn't live together anymore. So maybe
But only from
4 years he
2003
didn't
to
know.
2007, he knew all about it. It's fine.
I mean,
He didn't know where the money came from. It just came.
yeah.
It was like magical. The same amount that he was getting for the children before was still coming. It's magic. The government didn't just said, "Hey, you know what? You guys are great. Here's some extra dough.
So
Congratulations."
luckily,
Okay, cut me off. That's fine.
sorry,
Yep.
I was trying to answer your question.
About time.
Luckily, they are in jail.
What? What are they in jail for?
Well, if you
can
thought it was
hardly
gross
wait.
negligence or child abuse, you would be wrong because it isn't.
Or failure to report a child missing or
I
endangered?
think that covers in gross negligence. But it doesn't matter because they did not get charged with any of that. Nothing related to the disappearance of the children.
How? Exactly.
Because I don't know. But
Oh my gosh. You know what? If I did that, I would be caught instantly. Of course, I would never do that because I'm a decent person, but
are you? Could you be saying some out of pocket stuff on here?
just because I say out of pocket stuff doesn't mean I'm not a decent person.
Oh my gosh.
And
Would you like to know what they were charged with?
oh, I'm all ears.
Okay. So Edward. Oh, that's why they changed Austin's middle name from Gene to Eugene. Edward Sr.'s name is Edward Eugene Bryant.
Oh, well, that doesn't answer my question.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading his name. Edward Eugene Bryant was arrested on 2 counts of felony theft, 1 count of conspiracy, 1 count of I'm sorry, not 1 count, 19 counts of an attempt to influence a public official.
What? Whoa. He tried to influence an official.
So I think there's also 19 counts. So there's also 19 counts for offering a false instrument of recording and 19 counts of forgery. So I think those 3, the public official, the false instrument, and the forgery, are all related to the fact that they submitted those false documents to social services for 10 years, saying that the children were still in their care.
Well, here I thought it was about to get good, and they were trying to bribe.
No, they were just trying to take money.
Not that any of this is good. I'm just saying. Don't take me wrong, people. I'm just saying.
His bond was set at $1 million.
Only his. What about hers? Please say like 20 million.
Hers was also just $1 million.
Lame.
But get this. Linda K. Bryant was arrested on 2 counts of felony theft, conspiracy. 46 counts of attempting to influence a public official, 46 counts of offering false instrument of recording, and 46 counts of forgery. Love that for her. And if you give me 2 seconds, I'll tell you.
What, am I not allowed to talk in 2 seconds?
Yeah, you can.
She sounds like a peach. I wish I knew her. I wish I had her number right now. Not really. We're just saying.
So altogether, Linda was charged with 148 felonies. Edward was charged with 13.
I would be upset over 1 felony if I ever got a felony.
148. I'm sorry.
She's just like, you know what? I'm going to collect felonies. Like, please don't take this wrong. because it's just me being stupid. Let me collect felonies like I do children. You might cut that out.
Probably not. Probably not. So, you might wonder what happened to the children in their care when they were arrested.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's a very good question.
They're wards of the state. 5 of them are wards of the state because they're underage. 1 of them is in prison. I don't know what for. And then 1 of them, James, the one that came forward with all the evidence,
Good boy.
is actually a soldier
Good boy.
in the army.
If I had his address, I'd send him something. Like a cake. Not the guy in prison, because he needs to stay. I'm not going to put a file in there. I think they'll find it, though. Maybe I can print like a plastic one on one of those 3D printers and send it all over.
Send it to where?
I don't know where these people are.
Okay,
I'm not sending
anyways,
anything to Linda and Edward, that's for sure.
in January of 2012, Linda pled guilty to 54 felonies, 4 counts of theft, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit theft, and 48 counts of attempting to influence a public servant.
And how many, please tell me they have gone to court and that they are locked up.
Linda was sentenced to 42 years in prison.
That's all. But nothing about the children being missing, just the fraud.
No, nothing.
And is it embezzlement?
No,
It's just fraud.
just fraud and theft.
And theft. Theft and fraud.
So she was sentenced to 42 years in prison. Edward pled guilty to 5 felony charges.
Only 5?
19 counts were dismissed. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison. I was about to say something, but I don't remember.
I feel like these are a little lenient. And there's still nothing about, I mean, nothing is touching them about
They're
the
going to
children.
get out when they're like 80.
Weren't they 50-something when they went in?
I don't know.
One's going to be 80. The other one's going to be in her 90s.
So they're probably going to die in prison.
I know. No. It's a possibility they can get out. And I was telling
It's a hard life.
the tall guy in there.
Whose name we shall not mention.
He shall not be named.
Lord Voldemort in there.
At that point, instead of coming out, you know, they're in their upper 80s, 90s, whatever. They can just commit another crime and go back. That could be like their retirement plan.
I really think they're just going to die in prison. I really do.
Okay.
Because it's.
But I mean, if they let's say if they don't die in prison, okay, and they get out and they're like 100 years old, they're not gonna be rolling around very well, you know. So
I mean this in the absolute least offensive way possible. Okay.
Slightly offensive.
Did you see them?
I did.
Do you feel like that's the picture of health and gonna live to like 90?
No.
Me either.
But to be fair, they get fed really well in prison.
I'm just saying.
They get 3 squares, from what I hear. I've never been to prison, but
Oh, you haven't?
no, I watched some of those shows though.
Oh my God. So they were never charged or even nothing. There's not even any accusations, no charges, no nothing involving the disappearance of the boys. Oh, by the way, early on in the investigation, they did speak to the biological grandmother, and she was like, "We haven't heard from those kids since 1999. What do you mean? You don't know where they are? What do you mean?"
Or like, well, we did know. And then they obviously tried to come back to Oklahoma. So some weirdo on the highway must have taken them from the trunk of the car when they said, "Hey, Oklahoma, here we come."
Oh my God, you know what? I've actually been accusing Linda and Edward, like as if that's the only possibility, but they could have been kidnapped and murdered.
Yeah, they could have. They also weren't they?
Linda though.
Now, but seriously, let's think about this, because I did see that they are from Monument, Colorado, or they're in Monument, Colorado.
They were when the boys were missing.
And I looked at their house. I found their address.
It's next to a forest, right?
Yeah, it's right next. It's abuts basically a mountain, and it's
Yeah.
wooded. I'm like, you guys could just go over this little hill here.
So it was
There's a, huh?
nothing. Just
Oh, a
go on.
Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the wood booger.
Uh,
Have you not heard
I
of the wood booger? It's basically Sasquatch's cousin.
you're really showing your southern roots right now.
I mean, I think my accent gave it away, but sure, okay,
It
whatever.
is. I mean, it really is. They could have just dumped him in the woods.
Oh, you know what? But if you look at the topographical map of the area in Google Earth, if you go over the kind of the mountain or the hill, there's like a river or a stream that they could have.
Jesus Christ.
What? It's
I'm just thinking about how horrible that is.
or it's a wooded area. All they had to do, because the cops apparently did nothing. No cadaver
They
dogs
they searched the house and the property.
with a cadaver dog.
Yeah. But they only searched the house and the property that the house belongs to. They didn't search in the woods back there, as far as I know.
You know, I think somebody should get a like one of those satellite thingies and look at like best growth in the area.
You know what?
What?
There's actually this group of people that go out in the woods to find dead bodies, that use plant growth to find dead bodies.
Well, there we go.
I want to know what I can't remember what they're called right now.
People who search in the woods for dead bodies
They have a name.
using maps.
They have a name.
Can you Google what that is? Like people who search in the woods for dead bodies with maps and vegetation growth?
Yeah, but not right now.
Okay, well let's spitball another option here. Okay, so I said hitchhiking, serial killer, Sasquatch,
Yeah.
adopted. I mean, maybe some wolves in the area. It means Colorado. They may have wolves. I don't know. Do they have wolves in Colorado?
10% believe it was Linda.
You know, I feel like just reading the story of the age of the children, you know, I can't hold the ADHD against a child because, you know, ADHD children can be pretty clever. But I mean, seriously, if you read this stuff and you look at it and you just kind of go with your gut feeling, those children are dead, unfortunately. The poor things.
It's
They
been
just-
10 years.
Yeah. And that, I mean,
10 years.
you know, it doesn't even say what time of year they ran away, does it?
No, they just went missing. I think it said, I think Austin was unenrolled in October of 2003. Don't quote me though, but I think it was October of 2003. So he went, okay, let me just tell you what I think. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
all ears. All ears.
1999, Linda tells Mary, don't call here anymore. The kids don't want to talk to you. It's too difficult of a transition. We're trying to adopt them. Don't call here. And then that's in 1999. And then in 2001, James is adopted. And James says that by the time he was adopted, Edward was gone. He never even met Edward. Never met him. Doesn't even know what he looked like. I mean, he does now, but had no idea who Edward was. Okay.
So when was the last time that Mary talked to her children?
1999.
Okay. Continue.
And the adoption was finalized in March of 2000. Personally, I think that dang it. I think Edward was gone before the adoption was even finalized.
Mm.
That's what I think.
I mean, it's pretty possible. And it's gonna be like one of these deathbed confessionals where they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna die. I know I'm gonna die. So now my death is apparent. I will confess to."
Fun story. First, I just want to say that I think Austin went missing right around the time he was unenrolled in school, and I think that might be the reason that he was unenrolled in school.
And Colorado is known to have very bad winters.
So, the funny story, which isn't funny, haha, but like, you know, ironic funny. During the trial, Linda tried to make a deal to get Edward Sr. to not have to go to jail. She's like, he didn't know about it. He didn't know I was still collecting the money. And I'll even accept a plea deal of manslaughter if Edward doesn't have to go to jail.
What?
I only heard that from one source, but I thought that was pretty interesting. It was a YouTube video, so do what you will with that.
Oh,
But if she
gosh.
really did say that, isn't that such a strange thing to say
I
in
mean,
a trial where you're not
all
even
of it is strange. All of it is strange.
not so much
All of it.
strange as it is just like a gross negligence of law enforcement and CPS and social services in general.
It's just sad. I mean, considering that she was gonna have a child, pretend to be the other child, and the people who were coming to see the child wouldn't even know the difference.
I mean, this woman went on Google and printed out pictures and was like, yeah, that's Austin. And nobody was like, are you sure?
You know what? If tall guy in the living room there, if he went there, he would know the difference because that dude has like the best like face recognition built into his eyes. It's ridiculous. I'm like, who is that? And he's like, oh, you know who that is. Blah, 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 blah.
That sums it up. That's the case.
That sums it up. I feel like there's so much more we could say about this case.
Yeah, but we're out of time.
And I need to go to bed. I need to go read stuff that's not sad children missing.
I guess we'll just until next time. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh my God.